Now let's talk about managing the project documentation and the execution phase. So managing project documentation effectively during the execution is essential for ensuring the project success and accountability. Accurate records provide a reference for decision making, aid in resolving disputes, and ensures the compliance with the organizational and legal requirements. And this session will cover key points, including the documentation with its importance for the project control and compliance, how to ensure the traceability and decision and actions, and how to support the knowledge sharing and audits. And to start talking about the importance of maintaining the project records. Project records are the foundation of transparency and accountability. It provides a historical record of the project of the project for future references, and it supports the stakeholder communication and transparency and facilitate audits to ensure the regulatory compliance. How can you ensure the traceability and documentation? So, traceability ensures that every action and decision in a project is documented and linked to with its justification. Traceability, think of traceability as when you link the project decision to their origins. So every decision is taken is documented. For example, in case if there's a change that were requested, you didn't have a proper documentation for that change, and then you will lose the traceability to whom has requested that change, who has approved that change, and what and who were the requester of that change. So ensure the documentation and execution ensures the traceability to link the project decision to their origins. Also, it comes when it comes to let's say it's critical for justifying the changes and addressing the issues. You may use the tools like the traceability metrics and linked documents. For example, a pharmaceutical project, the traceability matrix is used to connect clinical requirements to test cases, ensuring the compliance with the stringent regulatory standards. And this level of detail is essential for maintaining the quality and accountability. The version control of documents. So version control is vital in ensuring that the teams work with the most up-to-date project documents. Having a version control, it helps by preventing the confusion caused by the outdated or conflicting documents. Also uses a standardized naming conventions and versioning systems to ensure that all of the let's say the version of your documents having different, let's say, serial, to ensure it's that's not outdated. You may employ tools like the SharePoint or version control software to keep all of these versions saved. When it comes in terms of how well managing the documentation execution, to ensure the compliance and legal documentation. So compliance documentation ensures that the project meet the legal and regulatory standards. So ensure to maintain records for all of the regulatory and the contractual compliance. Also include signed contracts or approvals and safety records to ensure that you have access. Also, these stakeholders and teams and your organization have an access to these signed contracts and approvals and other, let's say, records. Store the documentation securely to protect the sensitive data if your, let's say, compliance or your legal documentation contains any of these secure data or sensitive data. Tools that can be used to manage the project documentation. Digital tools simplify the document management, making it easier to maintain and to retrieve. For example, using Microsoft SharePoint in a healthcare project allows for secure storage, an automated version control, and role based access permission, ensuring the compliance with the data protections. You may use these platforms, the Confluence or Google Workspace or Microsoft SharePoint, depends on the sensitivity of this documentation. Employ the document classification system for easy retrieval and to ensure the accessibility based on permissions. Here are some of the challenges when managing the project documentation. So managing documentation can be challenging sometimes, especially in large scale projects with diverse stakeholders. It's overwhelming. It can be considered as an overwhelming volume of documents in complex projects. So think of when we started by initiating the project and planning it and executing it. And if you recall that we have many of these documents, um, for example, the planning phase, which has more than 14 or 18 documents with the four baselines, and it includes all of these details about how were the estimation made for the schedule, for the cost, for the sources. So I think as of these, all of these documentation might be overwhelming, in a complex project. Also, the next challenge here is the risk of duplication or conflicting versions. That's why we talked about the importance of having version control over these documents. So, ensuring secure access and compliance with the data privacy laws. That's why when we talked about the role of using tools and technology when managing project documentation, and we talked about the different platforms to serve the needs of the stakeholders, and let's say making it role-based access permissions. For instance, in a global IT deployment project, teams across regions may create a duplicate or conflicting document. So, adopting a centralized document management system and training teams on its use can mitigate these issues, ensuring the consistency and efficiency. Let's take a real world example for an effective documentation management. So, in a large construction project, the project team faced challenges managing different blueprints and permits across multiple sites. And by centralizing all of the documents in a cloud-based system, secure-based system, they ensure that the teams always have an access to the latest versions. And this approach enhanced the traceability, reduced the error during the inspection, and simplified the compliance audits, saving the time and resources. Monitoring the documentation quality. So monitoring documentation quality is crucial for maintaining its usefulness and compliance. So ensure to conduct regular audits of document accuracy and completeness. Also, track the metrics like the retrieval time and compliance error rates. Ensure also to update the outdated documents to reflect the current project status. And to summarize our session on how to manage project documentation, we say that effective management of project documentation ensures the project success by maintaining the traceability, the compliance, and knowledge sharing. Ensure that all of your documentation supports the traceability, the compliance, and knowledge sharing, plus having an effective version control to prevent confusion and errors. You may use tools and conduct regular audits to ensure the effective management of these project documentation. By leveraging the right tools and monitoring quality, project teams can overcome the challenges and optimize the execution process.